Using, citing, and documenting sources in MLA style. Sources are used to support the claim a writer makes and to show evidence. The way a source is used depends upon the research question and purpose. There are three major ways to incorporate a source into your own work: by quoting, by paraphrasing, and by summarizing. We summarize a source when we want to use a whole or a relevant portion of the source into our work. Unlike a summary, paraphrase translates a short passage from a source into the writer's own words. You paraphrase when you want to use specific information from a brief passage in the source and don't want to interrupt the flow of your own voice with a needless quotation. When you paraphrase, be sure you do not mirror the original sentence structure while replacing occasional words with synonyms, or else you will be plagiarizing, not paraphrasing. Occasionally, you will wish to quote an author's words directly. When the quoted material takes up more than 4 lines in your paper, use the block quotation method by indenting the quoted material 10 spaces or 2 tabs. When using block method, do not use quotation marks because the block indentation itself signals a quotation. Do not use block quotations unnecessarily. Paraphrase or summarize if possible. Use block quotation method only when the quoted material is so unique that paraphrasing or summarizing will take away from the essence of the work. No matter what method you choose to incorporate your sources into your work, you always have to make sure that you give credit to your source. Whether you quote, paraphrase, or summarize, you will have to credit the source by adding an in-text citation as well as listing the source in the works cited list. Any information that is not your own or is not a common knowledge factor has to be cited. There are 2 types of in-text citations: the attributive tags and parenthetical citations. Attributive tags are used to explain the origin of and to give credit to the original source. They help separate your ideas from your source's ideas. More importantly, attributive tags add credibility to your work by providing your source's credentials. For example, a phrase like, according to an article published in the American Council of Science and Health, or Dr. Smith from University of California, Berkeley states in his article, diet as a risk factor for cancer, that, followed by the quoted material. It is not enough to say Smith says or White mentions. You have not provided any information on who Smith or White are. You cannot leave it up to your audience's imagination to assume who Smith and White are. For all you know, Smith could be a bar attendant while White could be a gardener. Now, in a different setup, these two could be reliable sources, but they certainly are not academically scholarly. So if your goal is to write strong papers, make sure you add detailed attributive tags. A detailed tag needs to be provided only when you first introduce the source to your paper. The second or third time, it is okay to cite by the author's last name or by the title of the source. When composing an initial tag, add to it any combination of information depending upon your purpose, your audience's values, and your sense of what the audience already know about the source. Give author's credentials or relevant specialty, title of the source, publisher's information, historic or cultural information, etc. For example, Dr. Kroll, PhD in health science, in an article published in the prestigious New England Journal of Medicine writes, the idea is to help the readers understand the significance and context of a source, which helps guide the reader's attitude towards the source. Attributive tags build ethos for your papers. MLA style of documentation requires in-text citation of sources every time you quote, paraphrase, summarize, or otherwise refer to them. Parenthetical references help direct your readers to full bibliographic entries in a list of works cited at the end of the paper. Place a parenthetical reference as near the relevant material as possible without disturbing the flow of the sentence. Some examples of parenthetical citations are authors named in the text. Here within this example, our focus is on the parentheses and what goes in those parentheses. If you have given your source an attributive tag, which means you have already named your author within the text, add only the page numbers in the parentheses. Pay attention to the punctuation marks. The closing quotation marks are placed before the parentheses, and the period is placed after. In MLA, it is very important to format everything correctly. Each comma and/or period matters. Authors not named in the text. When you have not named your author in the text, include the author's last name before the page numbers in the parentheses. If your original source does not list page numbers, do not provide page numbers in the parenthetical citation. Do not create your own page numbers. 4 or more authors. When a source has 3 or more authors, only the first one shown in the source is normally given. It is followed by ETAL dot. Unknown author. When a source has no known author, use a shortened title of the work. Do not cite the author of the work as anonymous. For example, if the title of the article is Body Piercing Becoming Trendy, in the in-text citation you will only provide the shortened version of the title, Body Piercing. Provide page numbers only if they are available in print form. It is not incorrect to provide the complete title in the in-text parenthetical citations. Author of 2 or more works. Give the title of the work. 2 or more authors with the same last name. Give the first names along with the last name. Work from an anthology. An anthology is a collection of literary works chosen by a compiler. It may be a collection of poems, short stories, plays, songs, or articles. For an essay, short story, or other pieces of prose reprinted in an anthology, use the name of the author of the work, not the editor of the anthology, and use the page numbers from the anthology. Work without page numbers. If a work has no page numbers but has another kind of numbered sections, for example paragraph numbers, use those. But if no numbering is provided, do not make your own numbers. Just put the author's last name in the parentheses. When your source is electronic or non-print source, give enough information in a single phrase or parenthetical reference for the readers to locate the source in the list of works cited. Usually use the name or title under which you list the source. Never cite your source by the URL. Citing from an indirect source. If you want to use a quote you saw cited in one of your sources but the original source is not available, cite the source indirectly by using the term qtd.in and listing the title of the source you read this information from. The rule of thumb is if you have the author's last name, use that. If you do not have the author's last name, then list the title of the work, article, essay, short story, etc. If you do not have the title of the work either, then list the title of the main source, book, anthology, magazine, etc. Punctuation plays a big role in MLA. When citing short works like articles, short stories, essays, or chapters in books, Use quotation marks around the title. Italicize the titles of long pieces or works that contain smaller sections, for example, books, journals, newspapers, magazines, or anthologies. Writers no longer have to memorize or consult MLA's instructions every time they cite a specific type of source. Instead, the new model of entries in Works Cited List allows writers to create entries by following MLA's list of core elements. Core elements are those basic pieces of information that are common to all sources, from books to articles, from lectures to tweets. These core elements include author, title of source, title of container, other contributors, version number, publisher, publication date, and location. If you are unable to gather any element, move to the next element. Gather as much information as you can and assemble these elements in a way that it makes sense to your readers. For example, citing a print book with one author. In this version, only the most essential information is included: author's name, title of the book, publisher, and date. The city of publication and the medium of publication are not needed. An article from a scholarly journal. Cite the author and title of the article as you normally would. Author's last name, followed by first name, title of the article in quotation marks. Then put the title of the journal in italics. Include the volume number followed by VOL dot and issue number followed by NO dot. Separate these elements by commas. Finally, add year and page numbers. The textbook we are using is an anthology. In order to cite an article from our textbook, you have to know how to cite an anthology. When citing a particular piece within an anthology, provide the following information: author's last name, comma, first name, followed by a period, title of the article in quotation marks, followed by the title of the anthology, which is italicized, comma, edited by, editor's name, comma, publisher, year, and page range of entry. Notice that all elements except the author's name and the title of the article are separated by commas. Other rules include: the URL without http:// is now normally given for a web source. Angled brackets are not used around anymore. Citing the date when an online work was consulted is optional. Placeholders for unknown information like n.d are no longer used. The medium of publication is no longer stated. The first word in each entry of the Works Cited list must also appear in the in-text citation. In other words, there must be a one-to-one correspondence between the first word in each entry in your Works Cited list and the name used to identify the source in the body of your paper. Most of the time, this word is the last name of the author or the title of the work. The updated MLA guidelines are based on a simple theory. Once you know the basic principles of style and citation, you can apply that knowledge widely and generate useful documentation for any type of publication in any field. The default setting of all Word documents is 1-inch margin on all 4 sides. Do not change these settings. Now, to add a running header to your document, double-click on the top edge of the page. This will allow you access into the header area. Here in the top menu, you will see the option Page Numbers. You can click directly on that, or if you do not see that option, you can click on Insert and then look for the option Page Numbers. When you click on this option, a drop-down menu will appear. From this menu, click on the top of the page option. This will open another menu. Click on the option that allows you to place the page number on the top right of your page. On my computer, that is the third option, plain number 3. Once you add the number to the header area, you will then type your last name in front of the number. Exit the header area by double-clicking on the body of the page. You will now notice that your running header appears on all pages. Once you have the running header, the next step is to add the title block. The title block goes in the top left corner and is placed only on the first page of your essay. Your title block will include your first and last name, followed by your professor and their last name, then your course title and section, WRC 1023 or 1013, whichever you're enrolled in, followed by the correct section number, and then the date in MLA format, which is the day, the month, and the year. In MLA style, there is no punctuation added to the date. You just simply separate the two numbers, the day and the year, with the spelled out month. So it is 5 October spelled out, and the year you're writing this essay in. After the title block comes the title of your essay. Do not add any special markings like underlining, bolding, or changing font size of your title. Write it in the same font and size as the rest of your paper. All parts of the essay should be double-spaced, no more, no less. Make sure nothing is double-spaced. Check your title block. That is what is usually double-spaced. If that is the case, highlight the title block and right-click on it. From the drop-down menu, click on the option Paragraph. From the pop-up menu, under Line Spacing, set the option to Single. Since your title block was already double-spaced, this will bring it to the correct spacing where it is only double-spaced. Use Times New Roman font size 12. MLA does not require a cover page. Do not provide one unless specifically asked to do so. Place page numbers on all pages starting with the title page going all the way to the works cited list. This is how your works cited list should look like. Make sure everything is double-spaced within entries. Alphabetize the works cited list. Indent the works cited entry 1 tab for every additional line after first line. List only those sources that you actually use within your paper. Now let me show you how to format your works cited list using a Word document. Here is an example of what your works cited list should not be. This document is formatted incorrectly. First, we need to center the title. Next, we need to indent and space the list correctly. To do that, highlight the text and right-click. From the drop-down menu, click on the option Paragraph. From the pop-up menu under Line Spacing, set the option to double space, and under Special, select Hanging. Click OK and exit the menu. Now your spacing and indentation are the way they should be. There is still something wrong with this list. It is not in alphabetic order. The source starting with the letter S needs to be placed after C and M sources. Always make sure your works cited list is in alphabetic order. For additional questions regarding MLA format, visit the Purdue website.